Welcome along, fellow time travelers. Before I begin, please like and share the show and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Now let's begin our journey.
Hello, Mary Lou. Goodbye, heart. Sweet Mary Lou, I'm so in love with you.
On December 31st of 1985, the music world was saddened by the tragic death of Ricky Nelson, a singer, actor, and teen idol who had captured the hearts of millions. The incident occurred when Mr. Nelson was aboard his private Douglas DC-3 aircraft, flying from Guntersville, Alabama to Dallas, Texas for a New Year's Eve concert. Let's take a deep dive into his life and the circumstances surrounding this unfortunate event. Eric Hilliard Nelson, better known as Ricky Nelson, was born on May 8, 1940 in Teaneck, New Jersey, to Ozzie and Harriet Nelson, both entertainers themselves. This familial connection to the entertainment industry would shape Ricky's career from a very young age. At the tender age of 8, Ricky joined his family in the radio sitcom The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, which transitioned to television in 1952, becoming one of the longest-running sitcoms in TV history. This exposure made Ricky a household name, presenting him as the quintessential American boy, which later helped propel his music career. Ricky's musical journey began somewhat accidentally. In 1957, inspired by a date's admiration for Elvis Presley, Ricky decided to venture into music, recording a cover of Fats Domino's I'm Walkin', which became his first hit.
I'm walking, yes indeed, I'm talking for you and me, and I'm hoping that you come back to me.
This success led to a string of hits including A Teenager's Romance and most notably Poor Little Fool in 1958, which became the first #1 song on the newly created Billboard Hot 100 chart. His handsome looks, coupled with his boy-next-door charm and real musical talent, made him one of the first true teen idols. Throughout the late 1950s and early 1960s, Ricky plays numerous songs on the charts, including Travelin' Man, Hello, Mary Lou, and It's Late. His records sold in the millions, and he was seen as a pioneer in promoting his music through TV, a strategy his father, Ozzie, cleverly incorporated into their TV show. By the late 1960s, Ricky's popularity in rock music began to wane with the British invasion and the changing music landscape. He started to explore other genres, including country music, which was a natural fit due to his roots in American music traditions. In the 1970s, Ricky made a significant shift towards country music. His first notable country hit was Garden Party in 1972, which was both a commercial success and a commentary on his experience with audiences and the music industry's expectations.
Went to a garden party, this with my old friend, just to share old memories and play a song again.
Garden Party reached #1 on the Billboard Hot Country Singles Chart and also crossed over to pop charts. Ricky toured extensively, playing at country music festivals and venues, which helped solidify his place in the country music scene. His performances often included a blend of his rock and roll hits with country tunes, showcasing his transition and versatility. By 1975, after the arrival of their youngest child, his marriage began to crumble, leading to a highly publicized and contentious divorce that involved both families and dominated headlines for years. In fact, it was in October of 1977 when his wife Chris initiated divorce proceedings, seeking alimony, custody of their 4 children, and a share of their joint assets. Although they briefly reconciled, Chris continued to work with her lawyer towards a definitive separation and to be able to get as much stuff as she could out of him. As seems to always be the case, doesn't it? Chris urged Rick to abandon his music career for acting and to spend more time at home, but their lifestyle was extravagantly costly, forcing Rick to continue touring. This disagreement over his career caused domestic strife. Chris developed an alcohol problem. leaving the children primarily with domestic staff. Following prolonged legal battles, they finalized their divorce in December of 1982, which was financially ruinous for Ricky, costing him over $1 million in legal and accounting fees. And to make matters worse, legal disputes persisted for years afterwards. Now you tell me if that's fair or not. Ricky Nelson was famous since he was a kid. He built an incredible financial empire long before he ever met his wife. And yet, when they divorce, she gets half of everything plus the kids. And so he had to continue working longer and harder than he would have normally had to. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Can you please do me a favor and like and share the show and kindly subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Now let's continue our journey. And so that brings us to his tragic end on December 31st of 1985 when he was just 45 years old. As I mentioned in the beginning, he was traveling from a concert in Guntersville, Alabama to a New Year's Eve show in Dallas, Texas. Here's how that all happened. His plane was a 1944 Douglas DC-3 that was previously used as a military transport. This aircraft had a storied history, having served in various capacities before being repurposed for civilian use. By the time it came into Ricky's possession in May of 1985, it had been through several owners, including the DuPont family and rock legend Jerry Lee Lewis. Ricky purchased the plane for $118,000, and he intended to use it for his touring needs. From the outset, the DC-3 was plagued with mechanical issues. One notable incident involved Ricky's band physically pushing the plane off the runway after an engine failure. Another time, in September of 1985, a malfunctioning magneto prevented the plane from flying, causing Ricky to miss the inaugural Farm Aid concert. These events foreshadowed the aircraft's ultimate fate. On the day of the crash, the flight took off from Guntersville around 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. The journey was part of a tour that included stops in Orlando, Florida, and Guntersville, Alabama, before the final leg to Dallas. The crew consisted of pilot Brad Rank and co-pilot Kenneth Ferguson. 7 passengers were on board, including Ricky, his fiancée Helen Blair, and members of his Stone Canyon band. Just after 5 p.m., while flying over DeKalb, Texas, the plane encountered a severe problem. Smoke was reported in the cockpit by the pilot, who radioed air traffic control at 5:11 p.m. about the situation, stating they would need to divert to Texarkana. However, the plane disappeared from radar shortly thereafter. Witnesses on the ground saw the aircraft descending, trailing smoke before it struck power lines, a utility pole, and trees, eventually crash landing in a cow pasture. The crash resulted in the immediate deaths of Ricky Nelson, Helen Blair, and the 5 band members, Patrick Woodward, Andy Chapin, Clark Russell, Bobby Neal, and Rick Intveld. The 2 pilots managed to escape through the cockpit windows, suffering severe burns, but they survived. The fuselage was consumed by fire, leaving little of the plane intact. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, conducted an extensive investigation into the crash. Initial speculation ranged from drug use to mechanical failure, but after an 18-month probe, the NTSB's findings were clear. The fire likely originated from a malfunctioning heater located in the aft cabin area. The heater had been reported as problematic during previous flights, and there was speculation that a fuel line might have been broken, contributing to the blaze. Criticism was directed at pilot Brad Rank for not following standard procedures for in-flight fires. He did not use the fire extinguisher, failed to instruct passengers to use supplemental oxygen, and open the fresh air vents when they should have been kept closed. The NTSB noted that while these steps might not have prevented the crash, they could have increased the passengers' chances of survival. The report highlighted that all passengers were found at the front of the plane, indicating they might have been attempting to escape the fire. Early reports and rumors suggested that drug use, particularly freebasing cocaine, might have contributed to the fire. These claims were debunked by the NTSB, which found no evidence of drug paraphernalia or recent drug use among the victims. The crash had a profound impact on the music community and, of course, Ricky Nelson's family. His children, especially Gunnar and Matthew, who continued his musical legacy with their band Nelson, spoke out to correct the narrative around their father's death, emphasizing the mechanical failure over drug-related speculations. Pieces of the crash plane were later displayed in the Williams House Museum in DeKalb, Texas, serving as a somber reminder of the event. The tail section of the DC-3 hangs from the museum's ceiling, keeping the memory of Ricky Nelson and the tragic crash alive. The incident underscored the dangers of flying in older, potentially ill-maintained aircraft and led to increased scrutiny of private aviation safety. Ricky Nelson's untimely death at age 45 left a void in the music industry, but his contributions to rock and roll, television, and his enduring hits continue to influence new generations. His extraordinary life and career are often remembered not just for the tragedy of his death, but for the joy and music he brought to millions of fans. So, what do you think of this story? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Kindly remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Please check out the links below to learn how to support my research and productions. This channel is sponsored by CampfireShop.com. Remember, you could become a member of this channel and join me on Patreon to see exclusive photos and videos. You could also leave a super thanks in the comments below. Kindly be kind to all of our fellow Earthlings, and please do not harm them. And do yourself a favor and go to a local shelter and adopt a cat or a dog or both. You and they will be very glad that you did. Until next time, I wish you safe travels on all your journeys.